Hey guys, yeah, I'm doing this at like around 11:33 at night here on this Thursday evening. By the time you watch this, it'll be Friday, and I'll probably be working, or at least on the bus heading to work. The thing is, though, I'm only doing 4.5 hours, and by the time I get home, it'll be more than that, if you know what I mean, because of the bus. Long story short, I get off at a certain time, but I have to wait 90 minutes for the bus to arrive, and then I'll probably be home in time, to do at least one little video, if anything, or at least turn on the computer, that is. Mainly because of the fact that, my mom today got home before I did by a half hour, so I'll be doing it the same way tomorrow. Maybe more like 50 minutes or so, depending. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to do this video about. I'm here to talk about the Royal Rumble this Saturday. That's right, this Saturday from the Dome at America's Gateway in St. Louis, formerly the Edward Jones Dome or TWA Dome or whatever you want to call it, formerly the home of the Rams when they were the St. Louis Rams. And that's where this year's Royal Rumble is going to be. They've sold about 30,000 to 50,000 tickets so far, or at least 30,000 to 40,000 tickets, not 50, but you get the idea. And the venue is supposed to sit about 60,000 to 70,000 people, maybe more, depending on the floor seating and arrangements. But anyway, yeah, the Royal Rumble is this Saturday. And it's a very intriguing kind of Royal Rumble event, because even though we have, non-Rumble matches, in general, we also have some very unique situations surrounding the men's and women's Royal Rumbles. Mainly for the fact that the women's Royal Rumble is going to be a first for WWE. Although in reality it's not really much of a first, since WWE has done this in the past, but in today's setting it kind of is. That mainly is the fact that, the Forbidden Door has come to WWE. But as I've mentioned before, it's not the first time. Because let's talk about that for a moment. You see, the WWE in the past has done this already. They did this with the NWA in the late 90s to help get it more relevance again. They've done it with ECW before ECW pretty much became somewhat of a, under the radar, developmental company for WWE, as some people put it. They've done it that way. They've done it with AAA. They've done it to an extent with USWA. They've done it with, All Japan, in a sense. So they've done this kind of stuff before. They've brought in other wrestlers from other promotions before. Heck, before one of the King of the Rings back in the mid-90s, they actually had a USWA championship match, on the pre-show. This is before we got kickoff shows and pre-shows and all that. It was a dark match, but it was a USWA championship match. So, this notion that it's, the first time that they've done this, is kind of ridiculous, because it's not. But in the modern setting, in today's setting, yeah, it is. It is kind of a first. I will give it that, because, WWE, rarely associates, unless they feel, that company, as I've mentioned before, is not big of a threat with other promotions, which is why they're doing the things they are doing right now. And that's why both Rumble matches kind of have an intrigue to them, because you don't know, who's going to be allowed to enter, even if it's for one night. Anyway, getting on to the Royal Rumble event itself. Getting on to the Royal Rumble event itself. We do have the card right here. I printed it out, if you will. And first up, we have, I'm assuming, what would be the opening match. Again, we don't know what's going to be the opening match to really get people going, but I'm assuming it's going to be the mixed tag. A lot of people are assuming that. It's Edge and Beth Phoenix against The Miz and Maurice. And we all know why this match is happening. One, it's to conclude the Edge-Miz feud, unless they want to continue it to the Saudi Arabia show. Also, it's the fact that, again, we've seen this in the past to where when Maurice is involved in Miz's feud, she gets physically involved or helps him win matches and stuff, that she usually gets dragged into it, in a competitive way, to where she either will be allowed to go over, like she did in the feud with, Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella, Bryan Danielson that is, and Brie Bella, or she will end up basically being the one to take the pinfall, basically be the weak link in a feud, as we've seen in another feud with a Bella, that being Nikki Bella and John Cena. So this is not, like I said, this is not a first time situation for Maurice. However, I think it's pretty clear what's going to happen here, just based off the fact that Maurice is always, she doesn't want to be in this match, especially against Beth. We pretty much know what's going to happen. It's probably going to come down to the fact that Edge is going to take, Miz out of the equation, or something's going to happen to where Miz is going to accidentally tag Maurice, and that's going to allow Beth to legally come in, and then Beth will just have a way with her, and in the end, Maurice is just going to be there to eat the pin, and kind of, end this thing with Edge and Miz right off the bat. Now, they could give it to Maurice and Miz in an upset. Like I said, they did that before, when a lot of people expected, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, and Brie Bella to beat them at a pay-per-view event, but that didn't happen. So instead, they went with Miz and Maurice. Now, here's the thing though: Miz and Maurice did return the favor at WrestleMania when they lost to Nikki and John. So the question is, will Maurice pin Beth, or will Maurice just be here to take the pin? I'm assuming, I'm gonna go on a limb and assume that that Maurice is involved here to take the pin, and again, this might end the feud or the rivalry between Miz and Edge, but we'll see. But I'm definitely going to go with Edge and Beth to win, and I see Maurice taking the pinfall courtesy of Beth Phoenix and the Glam Slam, if you know what I mean. So I do predict that. Now, on to another match. And that match is going to be for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch against Doudrop, aka Piper Niven. And everybody was praising the promo this past Monday. I saw some of it. I thought it was okay. I think the way they're playing up. First of all, let me talk about the promo. I love the fact that Doudrop called Becky out on the fact that she could see through Becky's plan. If I take Bianca out, who I know could beat me, it gives me an easy night, basically a night off against Doudrop. I love the fact that she calls her out for that to make her realize, hey, you're about to eat those words at the Royal Rumble. Now she does indicate that she wants to walk out as the Raw Women's Champion, or plans to walk out the Raw Women's Champion, which is good. But even if she doesn't, I love the fact that she's telling Becky, yeah, you're going to eat those words even if you find a way to escape with that title. So, excuse me there. So I like that little, I like that moment there between the two. And then of course they had a little bit of a brawl afterwards, because Doudrop basically wanted to show Becky, hey, I'm not afraid of you. Now, do I think these two will have a good match? Piper Niven, she has shown that despite how you look at her, she can go. Against the right opponents, she can go. And this, to me, is going to be her coming out, breakout party at the Royal Rumble. I think she's going to have a great matchup here. Obviously, WWE sees some high things with her. They're very high on her, I should say. So I'm definitely going to say that she walks in the challenger gives Becky a great match, but she doesn't walk out with the championship. I think Becky's going to win. I think what will happen, because obviously they want to drag this out at least till Saudi, because I think that's when we might get a rematch, or at least on a later edition of Raw, basically the Raw that takes place sort of in the middle between Rumble and Mania. You know, I see Becky win. I see Becky retaining the title, either by cheating, by rolling, Dewdrop up and putting her hands on the rope for leverage, or legs on the rope for leverage, or I see her getting herself counted out or disqualified, just to keep the title. And I believe in the end, like I said, it's going to lead to a rematch either at the Saudi show in February, or on the Monday Night Raw that takes place in the middle portion of the road to WrestleMania. That's what I see, that's what I see happening. So I expect Dewdrop to probably win the match, but I don't expect her to win the title. So it's kind of up in the air of who I think they'll go with. But obviously, I'm just going to put it this way. Becky's not walking out. I'll put it this way. Becky is walking out, I should say, with that championship. She's not. What I was trying to say, she's not going to walk out, without it. She's going to walk out with it. But she may walk out with a loss, either by DQ or countout. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. So, it'll be an interesting matchup. I think these two will deliver. It'll surprise a lot of people. But I also think in the end, like I said, that either Becky wins by cheating, or Dewdrop wins, but she wins by DQ or countout, setting up a future rematch, possibly at the Saudi show or at the Raw that takes place in the middle of the road, or in the middle of the road going between Rumble and Mania. So yeah, that's what I see happening. That's what I see happening basically. But overall conclusion: Becky's keeping the title till Mania. That's all I'm going to say. And speaking of Becky, I want to talk about this real quickly. A lot of people are like, why are they making Becky this way? Why would she want to be this way? Why would she even come up with the idea if that's true? Here's the thing. The reason they're putting Becky in this position is, in my opinion, the overall goal at the end of it, which is around WrestleMania, is for her, even in defeat, to come out and basically, send the message, or at least acknowledge the message that she was sending as champion, that as long as you're on top, as long as you have that gold, nobody's your friends. Basically, you have no friends. Everybody wants what you have, and you got to do whatever it takes to remain on top, whether it's a popular decision or not. And that's it. That's basically the storyline with her in a nutshell that I think they want to get, to the end goal with, potentially. And I know it's giving WWE too much credit, but this is one of those situations where I think they might be on the right track of doing, following through and doing the right thing and getting a proper conclusion. But that's what I see here with Becky. That basically her storyline right now as champion is that essentially, that she's learning from her past experience that as long as you're on top, or you want the same thing your so-called friends want, then you have no friends, and that if you are, especially if you are on top, and even when you're on top, you do whatever it takes to win. Whether it's popular or not, or goes against your morale or not, you do whatever it takes to win. And that, again, like I said, as long as you're champion, you have no friends, especially if you're pursuing that same goal. That's basically the message I think she's going to acknowledge when it's all said and done after Mania, that it's all about teaching the entire women's division, if not the entire WWE, that as long as you're a champion, in this company, you have no friends, and you do whatever it takes to win, and that's it. And I think that's going to be the end, and I think that's the end goal, honestly, for Becky's story. I really do. But like I said, despite the outcome, I don't see Becky losing that title to Mania. I really don't. Alright, so the next match is for the Universal Championship. It's going to be Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins In a regular one-on-one match. There's going to be no Usos allowed at ringside. This will be good. This will really be a good match because they've shown that they have good chemistry together when they go against each other. But now things are totally different. Both are basically heels. Both have really improved, not just, from a character perspective, but also on the mic. But also the fact that, both have improved, from an in-ring perspective. And, Rollins, obviously they're setting him up to be a babyface in the future. It looks like they're setting him up maybe for a feud with Kevin Owens again, and this time with the roles reversed, going into Mania. So like I said, the dynamics have definitely changed, and I can definitely see the feud going into Mania starting, maybe at the Rumble. That's just my assumption. But we'll see. But this is going to be a great match. And I think what will happen to protect both guys is we might get a double count out. That's what I'm thinking. That's we're either going to get a double count out or a double disqualification. We're going to get something screwy. It's not going to sit well with a lot of people, but in the end, it'll protect both guys, and Roman will still remain as champion. So, I definitely see, a great match going on between these two. These guys are going to pull out all the stops. And unless they agree that Roman goes over Seth, like let's say Seth tries to go for the pedigree or for the curb stop, and Roman, basically reverses it and catches him with a Superman punch and then locks in a guillotine or hits him with a spear, then I'm definitely looking at a double DQ or a double countout that will put a sour in everybody's mouths. But I could see it happening here between the two to keep them protected, and maybe set up a rematch, like I said, at the Saudi show, in February. So that's what I see happening there, in my opinion. But I think it's going to be a great match between the two. But the end result, like I said, unless they agree to put Roman over by having him hit a Superman punch and then maybe locking a guillotine, or him hitting a Superman punch and then a spear, by reversing either a curb stop or a pedigree. What I see here is a double count out or DQ between the two, and setting up potentially a rematch at the Saudi show in February. That's what I see. In my opinion. Okay, so the next championship match is the one everybody's been waiting for since 2017. I think 2017, 2018, whenever Bobby made his return to WWE, they've been waiting for this match, and we're finally getting it. Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Obviously, this wasn't the original plan, but, the stars actually aligned correctly, even if abruptly or, impromptuly, they aligned, and now we got this matchup. So, the question obviously is, the question obviously is, who walks out with the championship? Who walks out on top? Well, like I said, originally this, wasn't supposed to be the match we were going to get. But because Roman had contracted COVID, before day one, the day one pay-per-view, they had to scramble, and fortunately they scrambled into a situation that worked out for everybody. But again, who walks out on top here? A lot of people, I think, would assume that Bobby will win thanks to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, stabbing Lesnar in the back and, showing his true colors and showing the fact that, oh, see, it was all a ruse, Brock, and you fell for it, and I'm still with the tribal chief. Everybody's expecting that, and that could happen. I'm not denying that. I am not denying that whatsoever. Some people are expecting maybe just like I said, with the WWE, with the Universal title match, some people are expecting maybe a DQ or a count out. That's possible too. So, whatever the result that we're going to get, I will tell you the match we're going to get is going to be hard-hitting, ground and pound between these two. And you know what? I think it's going to be one of those rare exceptions where WWE, knowing these guys' backgrounds in MMA, in actual fighting, this will be one of those cases where they'll say, go out there and shoot on each other as best you can. Not too roughly, but shoot on each other as best you can. Give yourself some stiff shots. Make it look as real as it can be until we get to the finish. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to basically let these guys loose a little bit. Maybe not as much as fans would want, but they'll let them loose just a bit based on their backgrounds. And, until we get to that finish. But again, the question is, what will that finish be? Who will, come out on top? To me, the most likely scenario is you want to give the title back to Bobby. Because if we are to go on a limb here, this is just me. If I'm going out on a limb here, I would say Bobby was the original selection for the Fatal 4-Way match. What was originally a Fatal 4-Way match at day one. I think the plan was for Bobby to be the one that pinned Big E and not Brock Lesnar. But because Brock got in the match, they knew the only scenario was, hey, people were probably expecting Brock to beat Roman. Why not, give him the alternative, have him beat, Big E. And there you go. So my assumption, if they want to, get the belt off Brock to build towards him and Roman at, WrestleMania, I would say Bobby's going to walk out the champion. And like I said, it could either be because Paul Heyman will turn on Brock and show he's been aligned with Roman the entire time and they just outsmarted him, or Roman comes out and costs Brock the match. He distracts him, costs him the match. Who knows? But one scenario, like I said, is the one they probably were going to go with originally, and that's Bobby Lashley walking out with the WWE Championship, which again, yes, sets up Bobby to defend the title at WrestleMania, which I think is the best choice. It is the best choice, actually. Set him up for that matchup. But the question is, who would Bobby face? And I think the most likely scenario for WrestleMania, if they do that, is going to be Bobby Lashley, and more than likely, it's going to be more than likely Bobby Lashley and potentially Seth Rollins. No, not Seth Rollins, but it's going to be Bobby Lashley. And more than likely, wow, that's kind of a tricky one right there. But I think more than likely, it's going to be Big E. That's what I think it's going to be. Because you had Big E defend his Intercontinental title at WrestleMania last year. Yeah, he lost. But here's the thing. I believe what this is going to do is, if Bobby gets the belt back, and Big E being the only choice on Raw right now to potentially challenge for it, well, you could do Randy as well, but I think they're leading to Randy or Matt Riddle for the, against each other. To me, Big E is the most likely scenario because, now you have him prove to the world, hey, legitimately one-on-one, I can beat Bobby Lashley. I could beat this guy. I can beat him. I can, take it to him, and I can beat him when it matters the most to become a two-time champion. So, more than likely, out of all the choices they have, because like I say, Randy's a good choice, AJ's a good choice, Rollins or Owens is a good choice, but I'm gonna go with Big E because one, you could. Because one, you're setting up that rematch between the two, and this time around, you have Big E show that he doesn't need to cash in, on somebody that's already had a match, that he could legitimately one-on-one beat the likes of Bobby Lashley. So that's why I would think if Bobby wins this match, that even if Big E doesn't win the Royal Rumble, I would expect Big E to maybe win the Elimination Chamber at the Saudi show to set up a match between him and Lashley at WrestleMania. That's just my thought process on it. The other possibility is, Brock could retain, and, Brock could end up, entering himself into the Rumble, or Roman can enter himself into the Rumble, win it, and then maybe we have them challenge one or the other, and we have one of them challenge the other to a match, title for title at WrestleMania, unify the belts, if you will. That's one scenario. So whatever happens, here with Lashley and Lesnar, like I said, it's going to be a very physical, stiff, if not near shoot style like matchup between the two. It's going to be ground and pound, like I said, close to shoot style ground and pound. But it's going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting in the end exactly where they go when it's all said and done. Now, some people are saying, well, if they go with Lashley to win, because I already saw JD put a thumbnail up for one of his videos he did, JD from NY206, and it had a picture of big giant Omos holding the WWE title over his shoulder. And that could be something they do too. They could have Omos win the damn Royal Rumble, win some kind of title opportunity for Mania, and then if you really want to establish Lashley as a powerhouse, have him be the first man ever to beat Giant Omos. But we'll see what they do. We will see what they do. But honestly, it's all depending on what the outcome is going to be. If I was to go over and under on this, I would say, if I was to go over and under, I'd have to go over with Lashley winning, and I have to go under with some kind of finish to where Lesnar keeps the title, and maybe, they set up another rematch or something at the Saudi show. But we'll see. But my projection is Lashley's winning, and that's going to set us up, on our way, a road, if you will, to Mania between him and Big E. I think that's obvious the direction they want to go with. So, I'm going to go with Lashley. And if not, and they let Lesnar go over or keep the title somehow, then maybe finally WWE wakes up and says, hey, we just need one champion. Let's just do this. And there you go. So, with those matches out of the way, and by the way, they may also throw in RK Bro against Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team titles. I'm going to go with Alpha Academy to go over in that match, despite, where it's shown during the Rumble. So I'm going to go with Alpha Academy to go over there. But now let's get on to the Rumble matches themselves. And let's talk about the Women's Royal Rumble match. That's right. We got the Women's Royal Rumble match. And what's interesting about this is the significance of the fact that, as I said in the video, and people were talking about this, Mickie James, who is the current Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion, is in the Rumble match. And they are building this up. And if you did see the highlights from Impact tonight or last night, there's a video on there where Mickie James basically is telling the world that she plans not only to enter the Rumble, enter the Royal Rumble this Saturday, thus making history as the first women's world champion from another promotion to do so, but that she also plans to make history by winning it and then going to WrestleMania and putting her title on the line against whoever the champion is that she chooses, which I think is a great scenario and a great, and I think great exposure for Impact. If you have your champion, your women's champion, say, hey, Charlotte, hey, Becky, let's do it, title for title. Let's see who is the best. That would be an interesting scenario, although I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they will do that. I will say, though, that if they want this partnership, even temporarily with Impact to work, I think what they need to do is that when she comes out, don't play her WWE theme. That's the whatever. No. You don't play her theme. You want to fully commit to this even for one night? You play Hardcore Country. You play Hardcore Country when Mickie comes out, and it will show not only for one night are you willing to commit to something like this, but it shows that maybe you are intrigued, if not showing some interest in potentially walking more so through that forbidden door than you're letting on. So to me, when she comes out during the Rumble match, whatever number it is, play Hardcore Country. Not her WWE theme, Hardcore Country. Because, again, it shows that you're committed to this even for one night, and that you might vaguely be showing some interest in stepping furthermore into that Forbidden Door area. But also, you know why I think they should do it? I can already hear, the 40,000, 50,000 fans, in that dome, singing along with it, singing the hardcore country. I can already see that happening. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact, in my opinion. I can already see that happening as we speak. As I just check something there real quickly. But yeah, and my finger at the mic there, I do apologize. But yeah, that is something I think they need to do, along with the other women they got in there. Who else will show up in the Rumble match? It's up to WWE. Mickey's one of them, obviously. Do they call out to some of the ladies they've let go? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Taya Valkyrie show up as Frankie Monet. I won't be surprised by that, if they do it. I know we're getting Summer Rae, Michelle McCool, the Bella Twins, everybody they've announced so far in there. I expect Bayley to make a big return and get a big pop. Ronda Rousey obviously is rumored to be showing up in that match. So yeah, I'm expecting a lot of women in there. I'm expecting Dakota Kai to show up in that match. I'm expecting Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai to show up as well during the match. Maybe Lash Legend. I think she'll be in there too. So the question obviously is, who wins? Well, a lot of people were picking Bayley if she shows up. A lot of people are picking Sasha if she shows up. A lot of people are going with those names, right? They're legitimately going with those names of, Sasha, Bayley, and Bianca. Those are the top three. But now that it's being rumored, if not confirmed almost, that Ronda Rousey is going to make her return in that match, it's pretty much a safe bet that she's going over. Because if you want to sell out that, that AT&T Stadium in Dallas, the best scenario is to have Ronda go over, have her probably be the face, and have her call out Becky Lynch for the fact that she's become exactly what she's always said she was, a fraud, and go from there. Because I think if they set it up for that scenario, that's the scenario where Becky, after she loses, comes out, admits that she did this because, one, she was probably jealous at Charlotte Flair getting everything handed to her, in her opinion, but also the fact that she wanted to show that when you're champion or you get chosen to be champion, you do whatever it takes to hold on to that title, because you know that certain people will make sure you never get it again if you lose it. And then also, as long as you're champion, you have no friends. So I can see Ronda playing an integral part in that happening with Becky when it's all said and done. So here's how I look at it. I believe, in my opinion, that Bianca is going to become a 2-time winner. I know people may not like that, but it's the truth. She will be a 2-time winner, if Ronda isn't in the match. If Ronda's in the match, then I expect Ronda to win, and I expect her to eliminate Bianca as a result. It may not be a popular decision, but hey, if you want to, kiss up to Ronda, you want to make her all happy, keep her around a lot longer than before, then having her go over in the Rumble is the best way of doing it. So, one of two things happens. Ronda's not in the Rumble, I'm going with Bianca as a 2-time winner. If Ronda is in the Rumble, Ronda's going over. That case closed right there. Case closed. Now on to the men's. And I'm going to say it right now. Unless Drew McIntyre is cleared to come back, I don't see him, being here. I don't see him being at the event at all. But if Drew McIntyre is cleared to come back, then I'm going with Drew to become a 2-time winner. Not back to back, but a 2-time winner within the span of the past few years. I expect him to win it if he's in there. However, if he's not, then I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar. And I think Brock's going to enter as the champion, as WWE champion. If not, I expect him to enter, and he's going to basically mow down everybody in that ring. I expect it to happen. But the other question is who shows up, besides those that are going to be confirmed for this. Well, I expect LA Knight's going to be in it because he already showed up on Raw. Roderick Strong. I expect some NXT guys. I expect Braun Breaker to show up. That's going to be a huge appearance. Excuse me. I expect Von Ragnar to be in there. I expect Gunther, a.k.a. Walter, to be in there along with Eigner, along with the rest of Imperium. So I can't think of the name, but I expect Gunther to be in there along with the rest of Imperium. I expect Dragunov, the guy that beat Gunther for the NXT UK title, to be in there. Legend-wise, Hall of Famer-wise, I expect The Undertaker. I expect Garrison Waller from NXT to be in there. And I expect him to be in there when The Undertaker shows up and then get eliminated. I expect Randy, Riddle, Alpha Academy to be in there. But overall, besides that, I expect the Usos to be in it. But overall, besides that, as well as the New Day and Big E and all them, besides those that I've mentioned, maybe even Sean Waltman, X-Pac, if you will. Despite all of them that I'm saying is going to be in there, maybe even Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder. Besides them, all of them showing up and having maybe a brief period in the Rumble, I expect that in the end, when it's all said and done, heck, I even expect that guy from NXT, the cousin of the Usos, to show up and have a moment with his cousins in there. I expect that. But overall, besides that, I think in the end, Brock's going to win it. And I think he's going to win it as the WWE champion. I really do. And then that's going to set up him challenging Roman title for title unification at WrestleMania. That's my thought. That all the people that are going to be in there, including The Undertaker, Brock's going to win it, and he's going to challenge Roman to a title unification match at WrestleMania.